instructors of cybersecurity to deliver courses to students, hundreds of students. We are also working on providing training to cybersecurity professionals who are either in the public sector or private sector already. Those individuals begin to make decisions about their organizations that they end up working in, again, related to products and services and businesses such as yourself. Another thing we're doing is connecting decision makers, chief technology officers, or people at that level in Ukraine, in critical infrastructure operators and other entities, with partners abroad. That's a personal and professional exchange to help those individuals strengthen their organizations and build their skills as leaders, but also will lead them to be making decisions about perhaps purchasing products and services in cybersecurity. And the last component of the activity in which we're working is actually where the Cyberaccelerator sits, so to speak. It's market and industry development. Helping small businesses grow in Ukraine is an important part of that, but we're also working to attract investors, either domestic or international investors, to help facilitate public-private partnerships in the area of cybersecurity, and to pursue innovation. As we know, cybersecurity, as you know better than I do, cybersecurity is a rapidly evolving field and challenge. Innovation is essential to try to stay ahead of those who would seek to do harm through cybersecurity approaches. And lastly, we are also working with partners in developing a market information exchange program. It turns out that decision makers around the world, whether they're public sector or private sector, maybe don't have all the information and skills they need to make wise decisions about purchasing cybersecurity products and services. Again, it's an emerging field. You don't know whether you need firewalls or what, and your IT people may advise you, but it's much more complex than that. So a market information exchange platform will give buyers that information, and connecting again to the Cyberaccelerator, those of you participating in the program will be part of that information exchange, so that buyers and potential investors have greater visibility to you and potentially choose you as a supplier of their cybersecurity needs. That's an overview of our project. I wanted to share with you to understand the context, but most importantly, I'd like to congratulate the participants in the first cohort of the Cyberaccelerator and our implementing partners, Social Boost, for their great work in designing and implementing this program. Thank you, and we look forward to your pitches later today.
Дякуємо, Тіма.
Thank you, Tim. And we are about to start the presentation of our programs and the achievements that we've had in the framework of our Cyberaccelerator. But before that, we would like to pass the floor the head of the organization that was responsible for organizing the work of Cyberaccelerator. Please welcome the co-founder and the head of board of Social Boost. Please welcome Denis Hursky. Your round of applause for him as well.
I'll just give up speaking so that you can get rid of the headphones here. So for Social Boost, it's a great honor to develop and administer a program like this. Our understanding is that 10 companies will be presenting here, and it's a great honor to see you crossing the final line of the program, but not actually crossing the exit line. This is just the entrance to wider Social Boost community. I'd like to elaborate a bit on what Tim already started, the context. So cybersecurity is very important. In the recent couple of years, number of cybersecurity attacks in Ukraine increased 600%. And I recall some time ago, I'm speaking about 2014, which was a very, very tough year for Ukraine. And fortunately or not, on that year, I volunteered and became an advisor to the head of National Security and Defense Council, specifically on digital matters. Was cybersecurity a part of the national agenda at that time? No, it wasn't. Digital issues at that time meant basically trying to do something in social networks, counter propaganda, and maybe somehow tweak the information policy so that people of Donbass and Crimea are more in the field of Ukrainian news and actually real facts. What happened, basically? Cybersecurity is not only cyber threat for Ukraine. Ukraine became sort of the testing bed for a lot of technologies from some countries that eventually turned out to be very aggressive to Ukraine, to Ukrainians, and it turned out that Ukraine doesn't quite have a market for that. There are not so many critical companies that can both serve the needs of commercial clients and the needs of the government sector. So the aim of this program is basically to change the situation, to build at least 80 or 100 new companies, or help you guys to basically make a new step in the industry where you have not been before, and use the privilege, basically, that some of other stakeholders out there are using. Use Ukraine as a testing bed, because government has a lot of needs these days, and the concept of government as a platform might help you to grow. And Ukrainian big businesses have a lot of needs, specifically in the critical infrastructure field. They also are happy to provide you some testing opportunities and piloting opportunities. We have several venture capital firms in the audience today. I'm pretty sure that they are looking into the growing trend of investing into cybersecurity. And all of this combined gives you a lot of opportunities and gives a lot of opportunity to us. We are very happy to be supported by USAID, our Western partners, and DEI, and also to be supported by Ministry of Digital Transformation and DIA City, because we think that this is a great opportunity for you not only to build a company, but also become investable. So basically, all of this together brings us a good chance to do something in the following 4, 5, 6 years and change the landscape of Ukrainian cybersecurity completely. We don't envision you as our first alumni, we envision you as our future mentors to future cohorts who will contribute to the development of Cyberaccelerator in the upcoming years. And also, we envision our interested VC firms, those who are in the audience today, or those who we constantly stay in touch through Ukrainian Venture Capital Association, where Social Boost is on board, rather as private capital that can also help our Western partners to leverage the resources that they have and change the situation on the market dramatically. So I'm wishing all of you great pitches today. We have a great audience here, very different, but definitely helpful to you. So good luck, get inspired, and coming back to our logo and this fingerprint, you are the best. Thank you.
Дякуємо, Денисе. Певно, що усі слова.
Yes, thank you, Denis. I'm sure that all of the words that we have heard from our partners that are important not only for our teams that are going to be presenting the results of their work today, but for all people who are present here in this room, for all of our audience online. And before we start to welcome our first alumni and our first pitchers for today, the alumni of the first Cyberaccelerator, I would like to welcome the co-founder and the executive director of Social Boost. Please welcome Viktor Gursky, who will tell us a little bit more about the program and about the achievements of the program overall. So Viktor, please, the floor is yours. Thank you. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to be here on this stage, after the whole year of working on the Cyberaccelerator project in the framework of even broader project on the cybersecurity for the critical infrastructure of Ukraine. I would like to tell you a little bit about what the Cyberaccelerator is, especially for those people who have never seen the Cyberaccelerator at all, for the people who are new to this topic and sitting in this room today, and tell you a little bit about the results and the achievements that you will be able to hear more about in our pitches. So my name is Viktor Gursky, and I'm the executive director of the Social Boost organization that works in the civil tech and impact tech for 9 years already, starting from 2012. And since that time, we have already developed a whole network of accelerators and programs, and have already had for more than 200 startups that work with open data, that work in fintech, fintech sectors, and currently we're working on the development of the sector of cybersecurity. Why that is important for Ukraine? That is important for Ukraine because currently the market of the cybersecurity of Ukraine is now being represented only by less than 100 companies. And among those companies, only 8% of the whole market is the share of the small companies that work in the cybersecurity. Even though we see that the global market for the cybersecurity products and services has more than $200 million worth. So that is why together with USAID and together with our partners in the framework of the cybersecurity for the critically important infrastructure for Ukraine, we have launched the Cyberaccelerator, the first Ukrainian cybersecurity accelerator for product and service companies. And right now, we have finalized the first cycle of this program today. The main goal for this program was the development of the companies and the support of the companies in the cybersecurity sector that will be able to provide their services to Ukrainian market, to Ukrainian critical infrastructure, to Ukrainian businesses, and thus they will decrease those risks and mitigate those risks that currently exist in cybersecurity. That is a program that has been implemented throughout 3 months, and we have had more than 100 hours of mentoring sessions and consultations with experts. We have been targeting the companies that are at their early development stages and the ones that are classified as small and medium enterprises. They are the IT companies or the ones that already working in the cybersecurity sector. The first cohort, as we already have mentioned, we've had 10 companies and we had many hours of work and sessions. We have 27 experts and mentors around from 10 countries all over the world, from US, from Europe. We've had lots of people participating as mentors in this program, as individual mentors, and as invited lecturers and experts who have provided some certain workshops or have consulted our teams on some certain singular issues on the business development or some technical issues on cybersecurity as well. In the first cohort, we have 5 service companies and 5 product companies. I'm sure that you're about to hear about those companies during the speech. We had 2 companies that work from B2B to C sector. 5 companies have launched their new services or product during the acceleration program. 3 companies are being focused on the fintech market, and 1 company works in the deep tech sector. So basically they're developing the product that is being built on the scientific research. So basically work on the cryptography research. Even though we have been targeting to work with the companies who belong to the small and medium businesses, the development of those, the level of the development of those companies were very different. Before the pre-seed and pre-revenue stage, up to the overall turnover, up to $1.5 million a year. So those are the participating companies that you're about to see, and you will be able to hear more and learn more about those companies in half an hour, actually. So the companies were not just attending lectures or talked to the experts. Of course, they have been working on their own business development as well. Those companies have provided the strategic partnership with our partners as well in sectors of the telecom, energy, the DTech, and in telecom that's Vodafone and Portmanau as the services that represents the fintech sector. 3 companies have chosen the strategy based on sales, and 7 our teams in cohorts they need additional strategies, and that is why we have developed the 7 fundraising strategies for those teams and for those companies, and that is why we're already providing the negotiations with 12 venturing funds in order to find the additional financial support for those teams. Some of the teams have applied to the Ukrainian startup fund. Some of the teams have also been applying for the CES exhibition in US, and one team has been an applicant of Y Combinator. We had 3 pilots with bank and governmental sector, with the Ministry of Defense. With the Ministry of Defense grant, yes, and we have launched, one of the companies have launched a new product, a new B2C product, and one company has launched a pilot with a bank. One team has even made a full spin-off of their activities that they have done before. Of course, this program wouldn't have been possible without the partners, and our network of partners we keep on developing on a daily basis. And of course, we have some partners who have been working in the cybersecurity for the critical defense, for the critical security of Ukraine. We have ISCP, VF5, and Catalysto. ISSP, that's Ukrainian company in cybersecurity. VF5, this is the American company in cybersecurity. That we also have them as the professionals and mentors in the framework of our program. And of course, it wouldn't have been possible without the team. So that is why I would like to thank all of the people in our team. I really wanted to thank Helena Vasilevska, the Cyberaccelerator lead, who came back from US to lead this program. And we do hope that it will continue as well. She will stay with us, we hope. And I would really like to thank all of the other team members who you can see on the screen. And I would like to thank all of the teams as well for their energy throughout the 3 months. And I do hope to hear the really good pitches today. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to remind you that the Cyberaccelerator is not just the business development program, but it is an important part of the project USAID cybersecurity in critical infrastructure activities. So we know that the importance of the cybersecurity is tremendous, but what are the problems in the sector? What are the solutions considered to be perspective in the sector? We would like to learn from our special invited guests, and we're about to have a panel discussion. We're going to transform our stage a little bit, and I would like to welcome all of our participants for the panel discussion. Please welcome the moderator, the head of the 3rd component for the cybersecurity in critical infrastructure. Please welcome Deborah Furlan. And let's please welcome all of our interlocutors. Please welcome the interlocutors in our today's panel. The Deputy of Minister of Energy of Ukraine, CDTO Yevhen Vladimirov, CEO Prozoro Vasil Zadvorny, the Deputy Head of the Special Security Connection, and the Deputy of the Minister of Digital Transformation and Digitalization. Please welcome Viktor Zhora, the Head of the Department of Project Management and the Change Management, IMPU, the ex-Deputy Head of the Strategical Development of National Bank of Ukraine, Mikhailo Vidyakin. Let's give a round of applause for him as well. The member of the Digital Transformation Institute, ex-head of Cisco, Valery Fishuk. So this will be all of our panel participants of our panel. Let us have a round of applause to invite everyone to join us here on the stage. And let's continue our communication in the framework of our panel discussion. So please, dear participants, join us at the stage.
Very good. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon here in person and online. This is a fantastic opportunity. We've got a very distinguished and important panel this afternoon, particularly as it pertains to some of the things that both Dennis and Tim had mentioned in the context of connecting and bridging what is happening at the government level on very high within the government, high levels of cybersecurity issues, and then with the private sector. And this matters in the context of within startups and the products and services. It matters for some of the things they should be looking forward. You know, what's on the horizon? What do you see? What's important? And then just creating these links. So what I would like to do is to ask if each of our participants could just do a very quick introduction of yourself and maybe just a 2 to 3 minute summary of some of the higher level things that you see that are happening right now. And then we'll go back and I will go ahead and maybe ask some follow-up questions if that's okay. Excellent. You have? Yes, please.
Доброго дня ще раз, мене звати Віктор.
So good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Victor Jora, and I'm the deputy head of the Triple S services. And then, so basically, I'm the CDTO. I am responsible for the digital transformation in our sector, and I'm responsible for the cybersecurity project that has been now implemented by our service, by our institutions. We are having a lot of attention to that. We are the regulator in the sector of cybersecurity, so we're building and implementing the state policy in the sector of cybersecurity, basically. And of course, we are the part of that important project that we have been talking about today, so the cybersecurity of the critical infrastructure that has been implemented, and we have been implemented multiple initiatives together with USAID, and of course we have been supporting this initiative as well and supported the Cyberaccelerator. We do hope that that's going to be improving the level of the cybersecurity market overall in Ukraine, and that will also improve the security of the cybersecurity in Ukraine. So we're really grateful to USAID, and we're really grateful to the US as our strategic partner for that. Thank you. Good day, my name is Alexander Vladimirov, and I'm the deputy head of the Minister of Energy on the issues of the digitalization. I am colleague of Victor as well, and I would like to mention why that is important, why this issue is even important for us. Just imagine, let's get back to 2015, to December 2015, when the lights go off. It's evening and you have no idea when the lights will be back, and for more than 8 hours you didn't have lights in your house. What happens? There's no supply of water due to that because there's no electricity. The ways they do not go anywhere. You cannot charge your phone, you cannot watch TV, you cannot contact your relatives. So basically in 2015, since 2015, Ukraine has had this very first crash on the most critically important infrastructure to energy, the black energy cyber attack. And since then, we have a lots of efforts from the state part, because we have built up the state cybersecurity center. We have had the cybersecurity services in the national security service. We have established the national system of cybersecurity due to this very first attack that couldn't have been avoided. Later on, we've had the left bank of Kiev, and the Kiev region has also been out of electricity. Then we had the Peta attack. So we have seen that the number of the attacks has grown by 600%, but I think that we have just started tracking more attacks and see more attacks now. The critical infrastructure, it is our main path that we have to start our cybersecurity system overall. We are a developing country. We cannot build the cybersecurity of the highest level for all of the sectors of the activities of our country, but the critical important infrastructure that gives importance and the impact to all of the activities in the country, that is the first and most important task for the national system of cybersecurity and for the Ministry of Energy as well. We have started to build our concept of cybersecurity. It's being now approved by the Cabinet of Ministers. There are final amendments that should take place. We'll be able to enforce the sectoral cybersecurity systems as well, and to support the national system of cybersecurity as well. And we're also really grateful to USAID, and we're really grateful to the American Embassy for their support, because the issue of cybersecurity has no limits. It has no borders, basically. And so this is a global situation that we have to consider. And the better we will learn to protect Ukraine, the better will be for the whole world. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mikhailo Vidyakin, and I'm the head of the Project Management Department and the Change Management Department for the administration of the seaports of Ukraine. I represent the Sea Logistics. I have just joined this organization recently as quite a progressive state institution that has its own strategy of development up till 2025, the transformational strategy with digitalization, with the introduction of the new IT technologies, and of course we have a separate notion there on improving the quality of the cybersecurity for our institution as well. So that is why this is something that our strategy takes care of. The Ministry of Infrastructure takes care of that as well. So our enterprise has a strategic value, and you can imagine that half of our exports and imports are being done through seaports. 13 seaports all over the territory of Ukraine, in the south of Ukraine, plus 5 ports that are currently being at the temporarily occupied territory of Crimea. So it all gives us the understanding how important this sector is. Our office works, our enterprise, our institution works on the issues of cybersecurity and protecting this infrastructure. We know that this infrastructure and port infrastructure is important for Ukraine. The 3 key aspects that we're going to be discussing throughout our discussion as well, I do believe there are 3 key aspects. The level of the digitalization of the enterprises or the certain parts of infrastructure, the level of awareness of security or dangers maybe that might be brought by the cyber incidents as well. We can discuss it later on, I guess. And the level of our preparation, how should we respond to those incidents happening? So the international associations of seaports also takes care about this question. If you might be interested in that, we had the overall guideline of how to develop the cybersecurity in the ports. This guideline has been published on the pages of association of the International Associations of Ports with hundreds of seaports all over the world. So we'll be also using the very same guidelines and recommendations. We have a lot of cybersecurity events planned for 2022. And as a head of the project development office, my responsibility is to get everything structured, to get everything done. Thank you. Good day, good afternoon. My name is Vasil Zadvorny, and I represent, since 2016, I represent Prozoro. And I'm the head of Prozoro, and the colleagues have mentioned to ask you to recall 2015. But, you know, I want to ask you about a different thing, because I see the triple role of today's event. I feel like getting back to 2017, when I was getting ready to have PCI DSS test, that I was getting prepared to that. I think I was one of the first people in Ukraine who received this certification. So, you know, today's event is quite personal for me. First of all, it is about the informational security. And trust me, I have been working on the issues of informational security starting from 2007. And I do recall how our stories on cyber incidents, on the need of the incident response, on the ideas that the informational security is a process, but not a project or not a product you can buy once. What all of those our conversation was met with a smile from the executives, because at that point no one understood what we're talking about. So if we can recall of what has changed in Ukraine, I'm sure that right now we will not see people smiling when we're going to be talking of that. We have seen a dramatic change of the situation, and I'm really happy that we're talking about cybersecurity right now as an important part of our life. On the other hand, starting from 2016, I has been working in the state structure. Before that, I only worked in the private structure. And it's a pleasure for me that we're not only solely speaking about the security, the informational security, but I am really pleased that the informational security is an important part for the development of state services as well, public services. And I'm really happy that the discussion around this topic and around this subject is very relevant and is very acute, and I'm really happy that it becomes more constructive with time, because informational security is not a question for the commercial or private structures. It is a question and an important matter for public institutions as well. And in the same time, it's a really great pleasure for me that we consider the issues of informational security in the states, and we're considering it in the framework of the possibilities for developing private and public public partnership, in the idea of development Ukrainian companies who can develop the sectors. We're not saying we're going to create a special economical zone or we'll only support the local producers or I don't know, using those methods from 1970. We're speaking about some modern and contemporary methodologies that will help us to develop Ukrainian standards. So three important things that are symbolized by today's event: the informational security of the state services provided, and the public participation in the private sector that will help us to improve security overall. Thank you. Good day, my name is Valery Fishuk. I represent the sector of IT consulting, the sector that gives the opportunity for the IT players to save a lot of money when they're working on the big IT projects, because IT consulting is the first step on creating big projects. We are facing the problems of cybersecurity really frequently, and first of all I would like to maybe outline three the most important events that took place or that take place as we live in Ukraine in the sector of cybersecurity, in the sector of building the national cybersecurity sector. The first and most important is the order of the President 447, the one that has been approving the strategy, national strategy of cybersecurity. This is, let us put away the second page of the development of this topic, because the first page, everyone who knows, and the sector, you know, we had the first strategy in 2016, the first strategy on cybersecurity in those really turmoiled times when we have had these aggressive actions of our neighbors. It was very relevant at this point of time. This is the second document already, higher quality document that has more chances to be implemented properly. The second important notions that I also wanted to outline was the draft law of Ukraine, just the draft law yet, on the critical infrastructure 5919, if I remember it right. When it's being said that it's going to be the second hearing soon, and if it's going to be approved and if it's going to be turned into a law, then it's definitely going to provide some foundation, a basis for the development of this sector, the sector of critical infrastructure. And by the way, we mentioned this, and our American partners are also working on this project on critically important infrastructure. We do hope that this draft law is going to be approved and a lot of important moments are going to be based into action. Another project that I want to mention as well, this, let us call it the structurization of what is going on in our governmental sector. The structurization of the subjects of the cybersecurity of constant action. That's What do we mean by that? Those are the state institutions, the ones that are responsible for cybersecurity directly. What do we mean in overall generalization? So we have the new structures and the new umbrella organizations, umbrella in the meaning that they coordinate the activities of other, for example, the National Committee on Cybersecurity under the framework of the National Defense and Security Council. We also have the structurization in the overall directions of the activities for our different organizations. They're also been implementing really nice and cool projects, some of them that have been initiated, and I think my colleagues will speak about that more. And we have also Victor Zhora here present, who represent the SSS services, so I think he might mention some projects of some of those projects as well. But let us say also what it is for us, because Tim has mentioned today, and he's meant this fight by Usik and Joshua, so we have all been happy. But it turns out that we had also the millions of unhappy people, the one who haven't received the opportunity to watch this fight, who didn't have the opportunity to reach this VOD platform. But we don't say that there was a cybersecurity incident. Maybe there wasn't a cybersecurity incident. Maybe there was just the technical facilities breach, but at least you have felt this idea. So what is happening when the promised service haven't been provided to you? Then basically, when the service is interrupted, and I think some people have been in despair, some people have really been nervous about it, some people reported it on Facebook. So You know, the entertainment industry, it's not quite clear that maybe we can think of it as of a critical infrastructure as well. But when the millions of people have paid money for a certain service and they haven't got the service delivered, then might we consider those media assets as well very, very close to the general idea and understanding of what critical infrastructure is, why we need the continuity in the activities of critical infrastructure. That might not be just a cyber incident, but I think you might have felt what happens when the service is not being delivered, especially when you have paid the money for that. So I would stop with that and pass the floor to back.
Thank you all very much. It's fascinating the different perspectives that each of you bring to this. I was wondering if I could ask each of you a little bit different question, and if I could start with you, Victor, just in terms of what you see, not just maybe now, but in the future. You have an audience of a number of startups, of companies that are going to be looking to the future. What are some of the things that they can and that they should be looking towards to provide cybersecurity for different government entities, or some of the bigger challenges?
Thanks for your question.
August this year, together with the head of our service, we have been in a delegation for Estonia, and we have provided an application on to participate on behalf of Ukraine to the Center of the Cybersecurity in NATO, to participate basically there as well. And together with that, we also have had some meetings with the business communities of Estonia. And as far as you know, Estonia is a small country, but it has some companies that have been providing the services and cybersecurity to the whole world. And one of those companies is a Bexar that have been supporting us multiple times already, that has been supporting us as Ukraine overall, and they've been supporting us in providing the international cybersecurity exercise with the participation of our services as well. And we have seen this support live. We have seen what support the state provides to them. And we have been providing the support for the critical infrastructure institutions. We're starting to make the register, and when the draft law will be approved, we'll have a new consulting markets. So based on that, we do hope that we will also increase the overall share of the internal market, and we will grow the internal market overall, and we will put the readiness of the critical infrastructure objects to be resilient to cyber attacks. But I really would like to hope that we will have soon those times when Ukraine will provide the support to the international markets on cybersecurity, because from our side of the CIP service, we have been conducting different cyber dialogues with other countries, and we are ready to promote the services from Ukrainian cybersecurity companies all over the world. And I basically believe that soon those times will come, that we're going to establish those cyber dialogues, and we will be telling not about the problems that have happened in Ukrainian infrastructure, not with the cybersecurity problems that we've had in our state overall, but we're going to be speaking about our great startups, about our incredibly great technologies, and what are the tremendous services that are being provided by Ukrainian companies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yevgen, in the context of, I know you have a deep background in cybersecurity, you've been in the private sector, in the public sector, and I'm curious if you can maybe speak a little bit to some of the things that you have learned in the private sector and been able to apply now within the ministry.
Thank you very much for this kind of a question, because basically, yes, there has been a lot of things when you work in the private sector. It is believed that everything in the public sector is done in the slowest pace. But when you are also getting to the other side, when you're starting to work in the public sector, you understand that that overall slowness and this bureaucracy in the public sector, it is basically created to avoid mistakes. Because just imagine that if, for example, there is a strategic course for the state development with a mistake, of course that will be terrible. So now I understand that this bureaucracy is something that is needed, not to hold us back with some kind of mistaken fast decisions. So the first thing for me when I've got to the public sector, I really wanted to do everything in the fastest pace, to do everything as fast as possible. I even had it as a goal to approve the strategy for the cybersecurity for energy sector in 3 months, because for 3 years we have been working with the main stakeholders for 3 years in the energy sector. We have been writing this strategy. We have built up the tremendous trust. Even one of those incidents that we might, one of the ideas that we might share with all over the world, now we have established a trust between the energy company and the security sector, the SSSCAP services, this national security services. We also have slight distrust to the different types of security services from the energy sector, but we already have built this trust between Ukrenergo and the energy companies and the national security services. So all of the anomalies that you can see in the Ukrenergo system, they are automatically provided to the cyber center of national security service of Ukraine. And the company believes that is an additional advantage to provide the security to the infrastructure of the company. At this very moment, as I've said, remember I had a plan to approve the developed strategy of energy sector security in 3 months. Right now it's been already approved for 8 months. We have been heading to the Ministry of Justice. It's now being delivered there, but the state sector is really slow because, the hackers, they're always one step ahead. Even due to all of the needed slowness of our state sector, we still have to build an infrastructure that at least would give us the opportunity to reach the speed that the hackers have. So the only way for us to do that is the private-public partnership. The public-private partnership is also an important matter that we have to introduce during the building of the cybersecurity sector in order to be at least at the same speed as the people who attack our systems. And basically, I might say, and to, voice it out again, just having this deep dive into state sector, there's a lot of things that have been done. There's something that I didn't realize before. Since 2015, after the first big incident that happened in Ukraine, we have built a completely new system of security and completely new system of security in the country that had never been before. I can't even recall another examples in the world. We have been for 3 weeks on training together with Victor, and we have talked to our colleagues from the US, from FBI, from the police, the organizations that consult and provide the solutions for this sector. And I might even tell you that, yes, tech-wise, some of the enterprises, they're losing out in Ukraine. But basically, we know that all of the technologies might be available in Ukraine. We can teach people on the same sectors, on the same standards that we already have all over the world. In energy, we should only be targeting to the European and international and Euro-Atlantic standards that already exist. So that is why, dear friends, I believe everything's going to be okay for us, and with each and every new step, we're going to be increasing our speed for providing the resilience for our state.
Thank you very much. I see somebody would like to make a quick response. Yeah.
Yes, Yevhen, a very brief idea for the public-private partnership, even though I do really trust Yevhen because he is the one who's the promoter and an advocate of this topic. I have really, really good treatment to you, but also do you have this private investment into the cybersecurity sector? Because on this level of the public-private partnership, I can identify 3 levels to that. There is a tactical level, for example, an incident happens, and the private entities were really grateful for their support as well, and the private entities, they are always supporting the state sector. during the situations that we already had in the past. We have to regulate it in some way, we have to put it in some way in the laws, but the tactical level of collaboration between public and private sector already exists. The second level of this partnership is the operational partnership, when we can exchange information on incidents, when we can also work with the security operations centers, and we can share analytics, which are not really cheap, you know. So once again, something that we can allow as a private sector, and public sector cannot allow it sometimes. The third level is the top collaboration, like Yevhen, for example, the one who is responsible for the change in his sector. This is about this top level of the private investment into the public cybersecurity sector. In Ukraine, we have legislation on that, the law on concession. And based on the law on concession in Ukraine, there is a huge base that has been already created in Ukraine to provide the mechanisms of the collaboration between state and the private sector. In what way, how we can provide the cybersecurity, and how we can engage investors so they can invest their money, who can find their find their ways, and how can they actually engage additional investments and live their apps or services or products for the next cycle of concession. As far as Yevhen works in the energy sectors, we know that there are hundreds of enterprises who on one hand have their own money, but those money and those investments are mostly based on what? On the scale of tariff that all of us pay as the users and as the consumers of the electricity. So sometimes they're not able to receive that different approval from the Cabinet of Ministry on their investment plan, so they can actually invest those money into those infrastructure developments. But is that needed? Maybe we can go to the free market and say we have those opportunities and we really would like to engage you from the private sector. Come and join. Give your money for the state infrastructure. This is a greenfield direction for Ukraine that we should consider. And by the way, Yevhen is one of the few CDTOs in the critically important ministry who is constantly advocating this topic. And together with USAID, we will continue in developing this topic of the private-public partnerships as well. And yes, like what I wanted to outline as well, the problem with PPP is we don't have the problem with private-public partnerships. Even doing nuclear energy, you can do that privately. It's not forbidden. The main task for us is to build up a transparent systems and the system of guarantees of how we can organize that to protect the private investment, so that the state would be protected from private investment. If, for example, private investment come from different countries and they have a different ideas on the cybersecurity of Ukraine. So the most important idea for us is to build the rules and make the rules. And in energy, we have the experience of writing those rules. And on green energy, I think if you know the details of how the green energy has been launched, that one of the conditions for the energy package is when Ukraine has joined the European energy system in the framework of the association agreement with the EU, we have launched the green energy market. How did we launch it? We launched it through the promise of the state to buy the electricity from private investors, from those who generate it from the green sources, from mostly sun and wind. If we will calculate the overall worth for the Ukrhydro energy, for energy item of Ukraine, those billions of dollars that are needed to build those objects, all of those green generation objects have been built in a really fast pace. What we have done, we have completed the 10-year plan in 5 years. We have constructed multiple objects of green generation that has been responsible for 30% of Ukrainian generation during summer. Yes, the tariff is high, but if we will calculate all of the costs on building the nuclear power stations or hydro stations, support, maintenance. So yes, we will calculate that now that our state has already received the resource, has already received the electricity, and yes, we pay higher than the generation of the electricity, but it basically covers the investment of the private investors as well. So the state is ready for the dialogue, and we have faced those problems as a country that develops. We know that we can, well, and not just can, we are building our right legislation for the further own development. As for the country that has its own national identity, that wants to show our national identity in the world. So we are aware that the problems might happen. And basically, we had a lot of meetings from the Ministry of Energy with the private suppliers, and we find the resolution for everything. Yes, we found the resolutions for everything. It will be much easier with the cybersecurity. The problem is relevant. Basically, we had this order of the president on improvement of the national cybersecurity strategy, and after that, let me just not be mistaken, there was another order by the president on mitigation of the threats in energy resilience. I'm sorry, I can't recall the specific title of that, but or maybe on the improving the resilience of the energy sector due to the Nord Stream 2 construction and other challenges. But basically, right now we are forced. Before that, we have been developing the concept of the cybersecurity. We had the time to do that. And national system only has given us some advice. So right now we're already forced to launch the elements of the cybersecurity on our sector level. So without the participation of the private sector, it's not the question of whether Ukraine has money for that. We have calculated how will the tariff increase to provide all of the needed security measures. That will be not really high to provide all of the cybersecurity needs. I cannot voice the figure right now because I'm still an official person, but this is basically 0.04 kopikas to provide the full cybersecurity in the energy sector. So just imagine, with all of the tariffs increase, just like 0.04 kopikas can save us from the blackouts. And if we will have no blackouts, it will also give us the opportunity to prevent all of the other problems in Ukraine as well. So we're really grateful to USAID and for Social Boost for they have supported and helped to accelerate the creation of new teams, and we're sure that it will be of the highest needs in Ukraine, and we'll find some budgets for that.
It's actually a very interesting back and forth in terms of both the perspective from the government, but also looping in that piece around investments and how do you, sort of bring that to bear within this whole question. If I could actually come back to you, Michael, in terms of some of the things that you are facing, you are both digitalizing the organization right now as well as building the cybersecurity infrastructure alongside. And I was wondering, without giving away state secrets, could you talk a little bit about that process and some of the things that you are thinking about as you are building that out?
Well, the administration of the seaports is a state-owned enterprise, and unfortunately the level of digitalization of state-owned enterprises is very low. When we have a low level of digitalization and when we have basically the no opportunities to have a remote management of infrastructure, then the level of the cyber incident is going to be very low. But basically there is the focus for digitalization in our institution as well. We have long forgotten the times when, you remember, in the 90s you can scan your computer for once a month for viruses or once in 2 months, and you could actually delete the Trojan viruses or worms later on, and then you can put this floppy for the next scanning that you should do in a month or in a 2. Of course, right now we have to digitalize. We have to install some certain program complexes, develop the infrastructure, and already forecast some specific events with what we're going to do if there's going to be the possibility of the external intervention. Of course, we have some plans for that, and we have some programs on that. The plans and programs for 2022 we're going to be thinking about that at this moment. So what is also important for us in this case, I would also draw your attention to this basic level of, let us put it in this way, the basic level of the computer literacy for the users. Because right now we're speaking about the really high matters, but people sometimes they don't really understand that when you are coming from your working place, you just have to lock your computer. Or, the IT professionals, they do not lock the USB ports. So, you can still use USB sticks with any computer you want. So basically, there are some really basic levels of cyber hygiene that have to be provided. Everything's okay with us, I think, but I have seen those notions too, so we have to consider that as well. So one of the three theses that I've mentioned, what is really important for the cybersecurity project is providing. There are three important things here. We have to consider the level of digitalization of the enterprise. We have to consider the level of awareness and understanding that the cyber incidents are possible, and the top management has to be aware of that. If you do not have that, then you will not have the demand to improve the level of security of your systems. And of course, there's also the third component is the readiness of the enterprise to respond to some threats, and I think that is very important to have this response mechanisms as well, some kind of standard resolution of what can be done if something is going on. So just that every enterprise would not start to run those things over and over again in their own way, but for them to have some standard algorithms or standard scripts of how it can be done. I'm really welcoming the strategy on cybersecurity and the strategies that have been presented by the President, creating the Cybersecurity Center in Ukraine. I do believe that those things and initiatives are very important and then will help us to improve the awareness about that in the population overall. I would like to also maybe try to a little bit clarify one thing from what you have said, if I may, because the standards that you have mentioned are very important, and those cool things in the cybersecurity that are called the national response plans or industry response plans. And as far as I know, then the development of this kind of plans, unified plans, is also planned by the corresponding services and national security. So we'll have some work done in that. But, you know, maybe getting back to the question that I wanted to clarify, not everything is that bad in your sector. There are two great news. The first of all, in Ukrainian markets, we have a lot of privately developed cyber capacities. Then you can receive at least 70% of all of the needed cyber services for your infrastructure. So you don't have to build your own cyber infrastructure. You can already take it from the private side, from the private sector in Ukraine. The second good news for you, in the very same center for the triple SCIP services for the National Cybersecurity Center, you can receive the specialized cybersecurity services for the state-owned enterprises, for the state-owned institutions that will help you to improve your level of resilience, the level of integrity, and the level of reproducibility and other things. So those are a couple of moments that will be really good. And you know, those moments are connected to the change of approach to the strategy of consuming the cybersecurity services. To build either you would like to build everything on your own in the premise, or you would like to use it as a service. I'm sure that most of the services you can use from the external actors by actually increasing the level of resilience. Yes, you know, I would slightly disagree with what you have said, because have you heard about the colonial pipeline? Everyone is aware of that. And you have heard about the Prikарpattia Obol Energy. Both of the companies have stopped providing the services due to cyber attack. In Prikarpattia Obol Energo in 2015, the Colonial Pipeline twice in 2021. Ukrainian company, American company, different level of digitalization, completely different level of digitalization. And I'm sure that the lack of the ISO standards and the certified stuff in Prikarpattia Oblenergo was not the problem for the Colonial Pipeline. But hackers were never stopped by that. And the problem is global. So we have to provide the global solution to that. We cannot build something for ourselves. We can build a fence, but this fence, we can always jump over the fence. The higher fence we will build, well, the higher technologies will be used to jump it over. Yes, the level of digitalization matters. We cannot provide the cybersecurity without the digitalization. All of the cybersecurity should be done by design. But we should not try to lie to ourselves that basically cybersecurity will be safe if we will not be connected to internet. It doesn't help us save us from the cyber attack. People people are the most vulnerable part in cybersecurity. The systems will be worked, the system will be targeted, the systems will be protected, but there's always human factor because we are using the technologies. We come home, we download some files on a floppy stick or on basically on the flash disks, and among Ukrainian conscious people in cybersecurity, even their information can be phished. So this is about the questions of the social engineering and the hackers preparation and hackers targeting. And just a recommendation, try not to, do not be sure that if you have a low level of digitalization, then you're safe with cyber incidents. So even the lowest level of digitalization can be then attacked by the hackers. So we have to work with this together. We have to exchange data together. So we're really grateful to USAID for helping us build in the system for the informational exchange. This is the only way for us to build the future. One command, really fast command. That is very, very cool. And this one thing that I wanted to say. Then share this information about the standard response solutions. Every state-owned enterprise, we have the specific ministry. So through the ministry, maybe you can give us this more information about that, of how it can be done. And then every specific service, like informational services or the services of informational security in the enterprise or institution, will then disseminate those practices in order to prevent some actions, even if we don't have the good level of internet penetration. We have to do that through sharing information. Okay, the ideal case would be that when the state top down will give the cybersecurity, but the most important thing is the bottom up resources as well. Like in the US, to provide the cybersecurity in energy sector, they have created association, the Northern American Reliabilities Association. The same thing they have in the gas and oil sector. Those is the union of the private and public companies. The companies that have had the mandate from the Department of Energy, so basically the Ministry of Energy, the Department of Energy, are responsible for cybersecurity in the sectors to develop the standards, to develop the frameworks. The state needs help. So I'm really grateful to USAID project really for creating this impulse, for providing this impulse. We should not wait for someone to, we should not wait for the virus to come or any kind of organization that said that you didn't follow the requests of the order number that and that. We have to get together on resolving the specific issues so we can share. Well, at the first stage, it's going to be very expensive services because they have never been procured before. But once again, if we would compare it to the capital investments for the infrastructure, those are just pennies. But the losses that you might have, they might be considered in millions. If you do not follow just the needs for the cyber hygiene, they might be catastrophic, they might be dramatic. There will be even the destructions of certain infrastructural objects. So, that not so many threats that are that humanity is currently facing. We might have an asteroid flying from the space, or the Earth will lose its orbit, but let's hope that there are people who work in the space sector, like Elon Musk, and they will consider that and they will take care of that. The other thing that is the overall world war that also might happen, and the third biggest threat is cyber attacks. The cyber attacks that would actually damage the critical infrastructure's work. When more than 60% of people live in the urban areas, the destruction of the cyber security and the critical infrastructure would create the overall blackout, would create the throwback to the before industrial times. Yes, just
please, if you would like to hop in, I know you.
Якщо можна.
Yes, if I just may comment upon that as well, because basically I wouldn't actually just consider all of this I wouldn't actually, the list of the threats that you've said, I wouldn't limit all of the threats to 3, because I think some kind of a small rat is currently laughing at you in China. But from what I believe, that is basically what my experience shows as well, that if we are talking about the certain hygienic level of cybersecurity, as any kind of hygiene, as any kind of the good healthcare practices, it all starts with a very straightforward straightforward and simple rules that should be followed. So when we're speaking about the standardization of the solutions, for me that doesn't really seem like developing the really complex standards. And trust me, I was also dealing with the ISO 20001. I have been working with COBIT and 18, so I have seen multiple standards of different level. Most of the companies, and you know, today I have this flashback day in some way because my first business visit was to Prikarpatia Obl energy sector in 2006, I think. So I actually know in what way it has been made. And in 2013, I also see the level of development of the IT system. And we might say that the Prikarpatia Oblenergo was so independent from the IT systems. But overall, what I've meant, the issue of following the very simple instruction is important. And basically understanding what are the things that have to be introduced first of all in order to maintain the certain level of cyber hygiene overall through the country. I think that it's an important thing for us to cover as well. It's really a pleasure for me when we speak about the cybersecurity project. We're also speaking on this direction as well. So basically, in my opinion, it is very important to increase the value of the threats and the costs of the threats for the attackers. Among the trends that we can outline in the recent years, it is hard for us not to mention that, for example, starting from 2009, 2013, the cyber attacks are no longer separately private story. They have become a state story as well. We have seen the cyber wars held between specific countries in our small planet. So basically, the centralization of the state levels should also happen in a way that it happens, for example, in healthcare sector. Let us start, for example, washing our hands from the very beginning. The same thing in cyber hygiene. You know, I'm just sorry, I've just recalled a very cool recommendation, you know, managing your passwords. You know, there is a good saying in the world of the cybersecurity, I think that people might heard that frequently. You know, the passwords are just like as your underpants. You should not show it to anyone. You should change it as much as possible, and you should never share your underpants and your passwords with anyone. The other recommendations on the sector of the critical infrastructure, I think that the other recommendations will also appear throughout the industrialization that happened right now in the overall cybersecurity sector. First of all, we should speak on synchronizing the standards. The good news here is, with the support of the USID project, we're now starting to translate multiple standards in cybersecurity, the ones that are connected to the energy sector, for example, the cybersecurity maturity module, the MISP, and the Institute for the Metrology and Standards of US. They also have a specific framework on the cybersecurity for critical infrastructure. And as far as I know, it's also been translated. And as far as I understand, we have to provide some additional analysis of that in order to understand in what way we can use the notions of this document in Ukraine as well. And I would also like to consider, and I'm sorry to all of those Orthodox people, I would also still recall our old standards, so basically the complex system for protection of information and all of our regulations in this sector as well. If they would have been nicely implemented, that would have a really good effect as well for the cybersecurity for the most of the institutions. By the way, they're still current, they're still acting, no one has taken them down. So all of the regulatory moments or procedural moments, even though then we have too many licensees, maybe don't have a good quality of works performed, but there are multiple things that have been already written about that, and we can use that. Thank you.
This has actually been very fascinating. All of you bring such different perspectives, and you have talked about things at a very high strategic level down to some of the very basic, simple things that, you know, the part that all of us play in cybersecurity. It's not just somebody else's problem. It is something that all of us are involved with. We are going to have to wrap up because we have 10 very anxious teams who are ready to get up here and to show off what they have done. But I would like to hope that this is sort of just the first of a lot of ongoing conversations that we continue to have about what's important for, you know, within each of your spheres, but also within the sector, the private sector, and investors and these dialogues and bringing them together. So my thanks to all of you this afternoon. Thank you, Social Boost, again, for bringing all of us together here. And I believe we have a short break, and then we will be able to bring the teams up. So thank you very much for attending this afternoon.
Thank you, Deborah.
Person, and right now I would like to ask you for the round of applause. I will still like to keep you waiting, but having invited all of our participants again to this room, the one that have used this break to disappear from us for a second, so please welcome our special guest. I'm not going to tell you who this person is, he will introduce himself, but I do believe that we're going to have yet another interesting meeting again, and then we will continuing with the break after the presentation of our special guest. So please welcome.
Thank you. So this is a story about growth. Not so far away in Vilnius, Lithuania, I'm gonna talk about my experience in this story. In this graph, you can see B2C comparisons of VPNs till 2016 up until now. In blue, we have NordVPN. In red, we have Express. In yellow, we have Surfshark, and two others. Basically, in 2016, we had one goal, to be better than ExpressVPN. And we achieved it in 2018. After that, we realized that we can provide a service for the world and to create Nord white label. We started popping up VPNs all around the world, especially for antivirus systems, and see that it's going really well. After that, we created 3 more companies. I really like the analogy about the passwords. We created NordPass for the password managing solutions, then NordLocker for file encryption systems, and Nord Teams now that become NordLayer. Now we have more than 50 million users online. We have our own accelerator that is called Tesonet that has 15 companies under the belt. We have invested more than 30. I'm really glad to be here and to see the pitches after my speech. But who the hell am I? My name is Marijus Briedis. I'm the CTO of NordVPN and representing the Nord Security today. And to be honest, I never wanted to be in management. All I wanted to do is to smash my keyboard, write some code, spin up some clusters, or to hack some really cool stuff. But with cybersecurity, I have a story. The story starts in '95 or '96 when I first watched the movie Hackers. I fell in love with Angelina Jolie, of course, and after a while I started to recompile the OpenBSD and FreeBSD kernel on mostly day-to-day basis. After that I created even my own business, which went bankrupt, and started traveling in Nicaragua. I went there for 2 years, volunteered, tested some Wi-Fi security in there, it's pretty bad, believe me, and came back to Lithuania to think what the hell I'm gonna do. At that time, my main goal was to create a travel agency in Nicaragua, but I think you can guess where I ended up. I ended up in Tesonet Accelerator. And today, I'm gonna talk about the things why I'm still here. I have worked in this company for 5 years, and why I still work for 5 more. And somehow the slides are stopping. But the main thing, what attracted me to these components was the persistence of our founders. So I encourage you, all the people that are going to pitch your presentation today, be persistent. The main point that our founders always tell about when they gather up the newcomers in our hall from a month or the first OKRs or the third months, they say, be persistent, because the NordVPN was the business of the 36th time. Can you imagine? They failed 35 times to make a great business with a global presence. I failed once, I basically gave up. Try to fail 10, 20, or 30 times. The second thing that I want to share with you is make sure that you take care of your 10%. What do I mean by that? There are always 10% in the people in the team that does the job. There are always 10% in the department that does the job, and there are always 10% in the whole company that does the job. Cyberaccelerator has now more than 2,000 people, and I'm pretty sure if they would go from 9 to 12 to 12 to 6 to 6 to 9 again, they would do the job only with 200 people. Oh, my slide is back. And it's gone again. Oh well, I can just continue. It's fine. The second thing that I want to share with you is not only be persistent, but in implementing your 10% and just pushing them forward, but knowing your surroundings. When we started the business with the NordVPN, we did the market research, and we saw only about 100 companies that are in the B2C VPN market. And we said, hey, it's great. It's a great opportunity for us. But after a while, when we did the bigger research, we saw there are more than 5,000 companies in there. So you have to step forward to make sure that your product will reach something and will accomplish something. Now about the don'ts. Of course, I've seen the great story of growth with NordVPN, NordSec in general, but I've seen many failures too. One of them is pushing people too hard. What do I mean by that? When you get your message from Telegram at 3 a.m. from one board member saying what's up, and the next message at 5 a.m. from another board member, so how it's going, it will work for a week or two. It's not going to work for 3 months. Don't overdo it, and don't overwhelm the people that you are working with. I know that there are OKRs. I know that there are a lot of things that you want to do throughout the quarter. It really depends how you plan your things, but don't overpush. Another thing is make sure that your inner and outer communication is in sync. We had a lot of situations that communication and the information came from outside, and our inner people were just fierce. Because they firstly knew the information from the outside and not from our founders and our creators of the company. And the last but not least, don't forget to create something new every day. Basically, I'm talking about the standards right now. In NordVPN, when we reached the #1, we saw that there is no way to push more, and we needed to think something for the industry. The main example was the PVC no-logs policy. I still remember the first time when I came to Switzerland and sat from the PVC guys and just started shaking, because I knew that it's going to be a really interesting 2 days. So the no-logs came into the light that boosted our product really well. The Express, our biggest rival still up till now, did a really great job with the servers and RAM, especially for the VPN and B2C market. After that, we introduced the new protocol. So don't forget to push new things, especially in creating new standards in the future. There are 3 main categories that I'm looking now, speaking about cybersec. There was a really interesting discussion about private sector and public sector and what we can create. The first one is zero trust. We started with this term 10 years ago or so. The Google were first that implemented it. It's really cool. But up until now, they were nowhere push. And the ZTE, ZTA, ZTNA, and SASE and CASB, and all these curse words, believe me, they're going to be really big in 5 or 10 years from now. So if you're starting your startups right now, take a look into it. Why? Because we have a really hybrid model how we work today. The COVID changed basically everything. In our company, we have 3 days in the office and 2 days outside our office. You can work from home. And we saw that our on-premises solutions, including VPNs, IPSs, IDSs, and everything else, really doesn't work. You have to push the experience more to the cloud and to provide the better connectivity and credibility for the user. The next one, I think, is, oh, yes, the slides are here. Yay, the next was everything quantum. So in the 90s, we had purely theoretical level what quantum mechanics are and what quantum computer is. We had a really great breakthrough in '94 with the Peter Shor's algorithm that said basically the RSA is bust. Then the Gruber's one that said that basically our all cryptography is on the verge of the apocalypse. Yeah. But 2010s were really about experimentation phase. We have really big companies like IBM, Google, Microsoft, even nation states jumping in and pouring a lot of money in this. And they are creating really great things, not only for that attack side, but for the defensive one. The defensive measures are quantum networks, quantum communications, and quantum entropy. I just recently had a call with the Cambridge University guys, and we talked about how they use their ion quantum computers to create really good entropy for their users or generate the keys. The third one, this is the sweetheart for me, to be honest, because the most of the products are in this. I call it Inhuman Tech. And this is endpoint security at the next level. The surveillance capitalism that we have right now, it's in golden age. Think about my watch right now. How much information does it send somewhere to my phone? Where that information goes through my phone? And for any tech-savvy people that thinks about cybersecurity, they want to have one-click solution to everything. We've seen really interesting dynamic from the antivirus market to the VPN market and vice versa, because VPN markets and us started to create threat protection for our endpoint users. And antivirus systems and companies started to buy VPNs to provide encryption traffic. I think it's going to go even more, and we're going to talk about identity protection, especially when you have your email somewhere leaked within the password, and you really want to know if that password were used somewhere else to take some credit of yours. But we not only see into the future, we too do invest. As I mentioned, Tesonet Accelerator, that's one of the reasons I'm here, to see new upcoming cybersecurity companies and to just not get the ideas, but maybe to invest in them. We usually value the different market with the different criteria. But these four are really important for B2C market. Think about annual user growth, always. And 50%, this is bad. We are talking about best class, 100% or more. The second thing that we're always looking for is about the gross margin. An example would be a really NordVPN. We spend only on ISPs and the traffic and the servers. And just minus our revenue, we have the gross margin. Look for at least 70–80% in here. The third one would be LTV versus CAC, long time value versus customer acquisition cost. What do I mean by that? Usually when you calculate long-term value, you see at least 4 to 5 years how much money your user is going to bring to your company. The customer acquisition cost is instant, is happening right now. So for example, if you put $60 to buy a customer, and you get throughout 4 or 5 years 120, you have 2x LTV to CAC. This is really bad. You should look at least to 5 to 6x in the year. And the last key metric that we are always interested in, of course, is the sales efficiency ratio. This is how we calculate how much you sold throughout the quarter, for example, and how much your sales and marketing team spend it on marketing, including the salaries and so on. We are looking for 2x ratio. Besides that, there is secret rules if you want to do the IPO or SPAC, the rule of 40, and the first churn ratio is 2. Grab me after the event. I'm going to talk about it too in person if you want to. But for the last part, what I wanted to tell you and to encourage you, that you should always think, you should always act, and you should always build globally. Keep in mind that. Think, act, and build globally. Don't build for the Ukrainian market. Don't build for the US. Don't build for the Europe. Even for the continent. Think, act, build globally. Thank you.
Thank you, Marijus. Thank you, Marijus. Thank you for your speech. Let us have a round of applause for Marijus. Once again, we still have the most interesting and the most intriguing parts up to come yet. 10 teams that have been working through 3 months in the Cyberaccelerator. They have been working on their project. They have been preparing their project and services, and they will definitely present those projects to you. 10 minutes, a technical break. We'll be back here, and I will already passing the floor to the teams that have been accelerated. And I will pass the floor to Halina Vasilevska, the acceleration lead, and she will continue to manage all of the processes here at the stage. And I'm sure that will be the greatest presentation we all wait to see, both offline and online. So dear friends, a 10 minutes break, and we will Business lead session. Helena Vasilevska, please welcome. Good day, friends. I'm really pleased that we have gathered all here today, that we have already heard from multiple really good people, and we're about to listen to those innovations that I'm sure are going to change the market of the cybersecurity in Ukraine. And in order to meet our participants in details, I would like to start with telling you about the format. We'll have 10 teams. 5 teams break and 5 teams. After 3 minutes of presentation, you'll have 5 minutes for Q&A. If you would like to ask a question, you can do that in English or in Ukrainian. We have the simultaneous interpretation with the headsets for the people who need that. If you will need some questions, you'll just raise your hand, and I would like to try to give this question to your team. Our teams are really, really nervous, so I do hope that you will support them with a round of applause, and it will be much better. So, this is a really big deal for them. They are the first in this region, not the first alumni of this program, but they're basically the first alumni of a complete new approach with a very revolution and innovative products. And I'm really proud of each and every one of them. And in order to start this great marathon of cybersecurity innovation, I would like to invite our first team, the Securno team. Please welcome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dimit Mayornikov, and I'm the CEO of the cybersecurity company called Securno. We provide full, simple, user-centered cybersecurity services on a subscription model basis. So what is our target audience? We basically work with small and medium businesses and startups coming from Europe, Asia, United States that have their own digital products, like mobile applications, SaaS solutions, etc., as well as we work with Ukrainian outsourcing development companies. So what is the problem? Cybersecurity is a rocket science. As a result, companies simply don't understand how to establish a cybersecurity program in their organization. Moreover, there's a huge problem with security specialists on the market. And last but not least, cybersecurity is quite costly, so not everyone can afford it. So we offer the following solution: tailored cybersecurity packages on a subscription model basis that include a wide range of services. So how does it work, you may ask? A client goes to our website to schedule a call with us or answers our questions through an interactive web form. Based on the answers received, we give a client a personalized package in several variations. And then the client selects the package that best fits his or her needs. So basically, our business model incorporates 2 main components: cybersecurity packages and subscriptions. As a result, it allows us to become comprehensive and continuous in terms of approach to cybersecurity, because we do not provide just one service, but rather several services concurrently. Secondly, we give our clients predictability, because they know exactly how much money they will spend on cybersecurity. And finally, we give our clients affordability. Because of having long-term engagement with clients, we can optimize our financial model. Our history began back in 2020, the 3rd quarter, and up until recently, we were operating as a regular cybersecurity company, meaning doing just projects in cybersecurity, that's it. However, we felt that something actually was missing, and we couldn't grasp what was that. But during the acceleration program, we found it out, and that's the moment we made a pivot. So now we provide services on a subscription model basis. Among our services, one can find such things as penetration testing, compliance with different international standards and regulations like GDPR, SOC 2, ISO 27K, secure integration development process, instant response, and so on and so forth. And 2021 has been a phenomenal year for us. We have managed to earn $350,000 in revenue. We served more than 10 clients, and 7 of our clients actually left us a public feedback on Clutch. And 2 of our clients already switched to our subscription model. Of course, this would not be possible without an incredible team that is standing behind all this. And we provide our customers with exceptional expertise, which can be proven by the industry-organized certifications that you can see below. Our objectives for these programs are to find potential customers and partnerships. So if you find yourself among this audience, we invite you to join revolutionizing the way how security service can be provided. And by the way, if you request a meeting with us on our packages during this pitch day, you will have a 10% off for all our packages. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dimit, for being our opening star today. And we are open for questions. Please go ahead. I think Tim needs microphone, and Jane can assist me with this.
Thank you. Very good presentation. Could you explain a little bit more about the vCISO under your program?
Yeah, sure. Basically, we want to allow companies to use, instead of just having one person in their organization and working for and being responsible for all cybersecurity in their organization, we want to give them departments of cybersecurity, which is actually less expensive for customers, and we cover many fields that one person cannot do in their organization. So basically, as I mentioned before, we give not just one service. Yes, we take care of instant response. We establish information security management system at the organization. We do penetration testing of their internal infrastructure, external infrastructure of their applications. So, and this all falls under the virtual CISO service.
Awesome. We have a question over there. And Dennis, I think you can be the second one. Go ahead. Question?
Quick question about the capacity that you have. Like, how many clients can you serve at a time? So as for now, we have around 20 contractors that are working with us, and there are 8 people working full-time. So we can serve more than just, in the following 3 months, we can serve more than 20 clients easily. So, and then we can grow. We know the capacity, and we are actually already building the capacity of new people. We're teaching cybersecurity right now, the veterans, and assisting them in the field of cybersecurity, helping them reintegrate into society by teaching them cybersecurity. Is there any economy of scale in this? I mean, what happens if you have 1,000 clients? Do you need 1,000 more people to serve them, or how does it work? First of all, we want to also cooperate with our competitors, right? So other companies that do cybersecurity in the market. That's one approach to scale rapidly. Secondly, we also will focus on educating people, new people, and then we can also work with international specialists.
Thank you, Demit. We have a time for a very last question. Yes.
Thank you. So as I understand, your domain, which is called vCISO, also covers all processes which should be implemented in terms of information security, which obviously go first prior to some kind of technical implementation, penetration testing, etc. And thinking about it, I just want to understand what is your pricing model, because usually it's a huge effort to establish all the required processes, for example, ISMS, which you mentioned, and as I saw at your slide, it was something like $3,000 per package. Yeah. So it looks like you will require at least 2-3 guys for each client. However, still the cost of these resources is much more higher than $3,000 per month.
Not actually. The thing is that the question to you then: do you think that every company can do cybersecurity on their own? I mean, if we give them enough resources, if we give them enough, build their processes, will it be they're able to maintain themselves, all this stuff? So, I mean, we can build we can engage a full-time specialist to be working for one company, but are they going to be capable to make this happen, to maintain all the processes we build? So then it comes down to the companies we work with. Right? So we start working with companies who do not have a security expertise in their organizations. So we want to, and they're not committed to this. They are afraid, they don't know how to start. We want to give them this initial start. Let's start with something simple. We will cover for you building simple processes, taking care of your users, how they should respond to and identify security threats. Secondly, let's understand where you are right now. What is your security posture? Right? And then let's create a plan for you where you're going to be in a year. And we're not going to be, this is going to be just consultation, but we're going to be actually taking care that they are making a progress. And we're going to look at them from a technical perspective, just to understand what about their infrastructure. Is everything fine with do they have any vulnerabilities? What about their application? So that's our approach. We're not going to engage full-time specialists just for small companies.
Yeah, I got the idea, and I believe that it would perfectly work, for example, for maintaining the processes, but considering the required effort to establish those processes, it looks something unbudgeted is for me.
Yeah, for building processes that would be aligned with different international standards like SOC 2, ISO 27K,
you would rather go for the second package, where we would need around at least a half FTE for this process to be established. So basically, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dimit, and thank you for a great opening and awesome questions from the audience.
Thank you.
І далі ми переходимо від...
And next, we are going from the service-based model, we're going to the product model, because you know the Cyberaccelerator was a unique program from one of the reasons as well. This is the first program in Ukraine that has the acceleration program, basically, not only for the service, but also for the product companies as well. We are the first program in Ukraine that has been working with the service companies as well. But we have already heard from a service company. Let us now learn about one of the products that we provide as well. So please welcome OneStrust company. Thank you, Helena.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bogdan Shwidky. I represent the OneStress team and our product for endpoint data protection called Sahar. Our application is all about this. Any encrypted data, sooner or later, one way or another, can be decrypted. Hence, encryption doesn't always mean protection. To understand how our application works, with extremely simple example, we will use the classic safe. Anyone who has keys to the safe can access the information stored inside that safe. To avoid the situation, you may involve the plausible deniability technique and create two identical safes. More advanced approach allows you to create an arbitrary number of such safes. Our application goes even further and makes the very existence of such safes indeterminable for an attacker. Speaking about relevance of such products, according to Statista.com service, we observe the projected steady growth of global endpoint security market. Yet, who exactly may need it? Well, anyone can imagine the situation when you will be forced to disclose your private keys or reveal sensitive information to third parties. And in the first place, we mean cryptocurrency enthusiasts and privacy protection enthusiasts, however, will also suitable for activists and journalists. With our application, you'll be able to create encrypted and multi-layered file archives and virtual disks, create unidirectional data storages, and steganographically mask information within other data types. We have a lot of indirect competitors, however, we outline several of them as direct. We plan to beat them with some of our unique features. I'd like to emphasize VeraCrypt on a professional stage and MacPause encryptor in the casual segment. We will sell our application to B2C customers using a hybrid subscription one-time purchase model. And for B2B, we provide one-time purchase with an optional tuning packages upsells. We offer our application in 4 main editions: basic, extended, business, and subscription variant. I'm a solo founder and chief engineer of Sahar project. I seized the opportunity to join the Cyber UA Acceleration program to establish a strong business development process. In 2020, we finalized our long-standing R&D phase and launched the MVP. By the end of 2021, we plan to fulfill the commercial launch of our application to B2C customers. Currently, we are at pre-seed stage and looking for a 75K investment to implement the marketing strategy developed during the acceleration program and to quickly embrace the mobile device market. The free basic version of our application is already available at Mac App Store and through our website. Thank you for your attention. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
What I loved about this presentation is how many people started opening solutions. It shows actually the need of solutions like this on a screen. And to develop our interest solution of Bogdan, питання, будь ласка. Yes, Marijus, go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation. What kind of encryption do you use in your technology?
it depends on the edition of our application. If we speak about extended version or a business version, it's up to you. You can choose a particular encryption algorithm and hashing functions, like you can do, for example, with TrueCrypt or VeraCrypt. And in basic version of our application, we're not disclosing the actual encryption algorithms we're using.
Okay, so we are right now getting very, very interested, and we have a question over there.
У нас є ще одне питання, я попрошу вставати наших.
We have one more question, and I would like to ask our participants to stand up as well, so we can show you online as well.
Thanks for the presentation. Out of this slide with the team, you have 2 team members who are business advisors, right? And
yeah.
I make a conclusion that you're the only developer who develops the solution.
Yeah,
correct?
Yes, it's true.
Okay, congratulations on that. Great job.
Thank you so much.
But the question is, you said you want to have 75K for implementing go-to-market strategy, right?
Yeah.
So who at that time would, keep developing? Are you planning to extend your team? Yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you for the question. It's a good one. We will definitely somehow outsource the marketing campaign. But I'm not pretty sure whether we will hire someone dedicated or outsource it to a marketing agency. It depends on some details.
Got it. У нас є час на останнє питання.
We have some time for the final question, if we have any. And the final question that will be then from my side as well. I'm going to use this opportunity to use this for you, ask you some questions, and I ask you once again. I did it for 3 months. What is the ideal portfolio for your investor? Who should it be? It's a special technology, special physical product. What do you think about your ideal investor? And I think we have a lot of ideal investors as well in the broadcast. Let us find each other. Well, first of all, I'll try to answer that in Ukrainian, even though it will be slightly complicated for me, I guess. But basically, I will try to do that. I will try not to call the most ideal version of our investor, but I think there will be definitely the people who have some savings in cryptocurrencies. And basically, we do support the journalists and activists in a different way. So we were supporting, let us put this way, their freedom of speech and freedom of thoughts. So we're ready for collaboration in more of a social component, if I may say that. When, for example, the journalists will be able to provide their activities safely. Okay, that's good. So we can see how this solution can be used not only for the commercial sector in B2C segment, but also for the supporting the freedom of speech as well. And I do believe there's a good usage for the one-thrust solution that you offer. Thank you. Thank you, Helena. Okay, so speaking about the revolutionary approaches and the new technologies and the way how we work with this really complex stakeholders, we're switching to our next company that revolutionizes the way the security is delivered for critical infrastructure.
The topic of our event today. Commander Chicks, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Galina. Hello, my name is Andrew Buldazhov. I'm CEO at HX Technologies. We provide businesses with a wide range of cybersecurity services. We work mainly in Europe and Asia, and we have clients in other regions as well. Now we are developing a new line of business, cybersecurity of industrial IT and operational technologies, OT. The problems in industrial control systems are global. The incidents result in huge costs, and, which is even more important, environmental disasters, and even the health and lives of people are at stake. To solve these problems, we perform audits, train specialists, implement standards and software and hardware solutions. We successfully provide about 40 different services in 7 groups. We do the standard set of cybersecurity services like pen tests, compliance, SOC, etc. And we have rare services, which very few other companies have, like Red Team, zero-day research, source code audit, blockchain, and smart contract security. We also teach cybersecurity to our professional colleagues. This slide shows our achievements that help us validate the market. We are proud to have big clients in energy, construction, retail, banking, and other industries. Last year was quite successful for us. Our sales grew by 43%. And this year, we expect 70% increase in revenue. We grow without any external investments. Why are we here? We want to improve our marketing. Over the last 3 months, Cyberaccelerator has helped us a lot. We've been consulted by the best marketers in Ukraine, and now we have a new marketing strategy. Cyberaccelerator's mentors and coaches have helped us improve and optimize our processes. We still need to find new strategic partners, in particular sales agents with influence. We want to build win-win relationships with them and with large industrial enterprises. Who are we? For 2 decades, we worked in large corporations and were successful private entrepreneurs. Then we teamed up. 3 years ago, a steady flow of sales started. And last year, we established a limited liability company in Ukraine. Our main competitive advantages are, firstly, the rare combination of cybersecurity and industrial automation experience. And secondly, our treating competitors as potential partners. We are quite a successful cybersecurity service company. And to grow even further, we want to find new strategic partners, especially in the industrial sector. We are ready to share our income with you as part of our partnership program. And by the way, right now, Verkhovna Rada is working on this critical infrastructure protection bill, the one which Tim has mentioned and other speakers. So when this law comes into force, there's going to be a huge market open. So if you're interested, let's talk. Thank you for your attention.
And I think it's a great opportunity to talk with HX team right now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Питання. Будь ласка.
Hello. Could you please switch to first slide, if it's possible?
Sure. Let me try to do this.
Okay. Industrial IoT. Yeah? So you mean that it's also a SCADA system, PLS, etc., etc. Yeah. So I didn't hear nothing about this part of your services during the presentation. Could you please specify what exactly are you doing in this area?
I will be happy to talk about this because I myself come from this world. For 2 decades, I've been working as a SCADA and PLC engineer. Then I established my own little company in industrial automation. And then 3 years ago, I joined HX, my brother's company. And together, we are building this joint solution. So even back when I worked in the industrial sector, my heart has always been in the IT. And I have tried to implement these security solutions even back then. But now we are building it in a new level. So first of all, it's audit. You want definite steps, right? So we begin with the audit. Because first thing first, we need to find out what is there, what is missing. Right? And this audit already gives value to the customer because very many customers, they don't even know what assets they have. You know, there are such enterprises, they don't know what computers they have. They are surprised that, oh, we have this computer, what is this doing here? So even the asset inventory brings them great value. The next step is hardening. So we work by Pareto principle, you know, this 20/80. So we implement the basic, the most fundamental things first, and this also gives the major benefit to the client. And of course, then we are developing a product. It's only very basic, fundamental level. We are only at a proof of concept stage now. This is CM system, security event monitoring. So this is already advanced step. So if we are talking about basics, it's the hygiene and the order in the system. But CM systems in particular, not usual CM, because in cybersecurity, CM system is a common knowledge already. So everybody using them. But in industrial world, it's still a new thing, and there are specific things there. So we are developing this industrial CM, and it's quite fresh. This is going to be quite revolutionary.
And we have time for another question, but only one.
We can speak with you backstage. Okay?
Yes.
It's a big question.
Well, We were not thinking about it, but as you are offering, so what's your revenue?
Well, the revenue, I actually had this slide. Let me find it. That's what is it? So we started pretty modestly 3 years ago. We didn't have many clients, but then our growth is not linear. It's even exponential. So we are growing pretty fast. And this year it's about 300,000. And next year I think it will be even more because we have some potential clients who are now at only, I think I can mention this already.
I just think so.
Yeah. All right. So last week. This week has already started. Last week, and we are very proud of it. We have signed the contract with DTAC. And maybe you know this. Yeah. This is the giant in energy. So we have been building relationships with them for several years. And for a couple of years we lost. So the year before and last year we lost tenders. And this year, finally, we have won this tender with them. And we have signed the contract last week. And this is our role model. This is our ideal client when we want to progress with them. So such clients give us hope and good faith that in next year will be even better than this one.
And I think it's a great story of success.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, HX team who worked so dedicatedly, who basically worked on every detail to make their offering perfect. And right now we see what kind of great results they can have. And speaking about new big scene in cybersecurity and switching to yet another critical infrastructure component, I'm inviting team IT Exa who are going to share their view on how the cybersecurity services should be delivered.
Cyber attacks will rival the third largest economy in the world by 2025, $10 trillion. Every 11 seconds, cyber attack is happening somewhere in the world. Ukraine is the 70th most attacked country. Our company is growing up in a tough neighborhood. The fastest growing problems in Ukraine and in the world are insider attacks, ransomware, and DDoS. We came from physical security to face all the challenges. We need interlocking cybersecurity. What does it mean, may you ask? It's simple to understand. It means physical, information, cybersecurity components in one approach, where one component watches and helps another. Our solutions will help organizations to build a defense against insider and outsider attacks. With our physical security experience and our ever-evolving cybersecurity solutions, pave the way to your interlocking cybersecurity and compliance. And to do this, we want to ramp up to the biggest and most advanced Security Operations Center on SaaS model in Ukraine and then in Eastern Europe. Our go-to-market strategy is based on 100 million serviceable available market size, which we plan to serve starting with Ukrainian financial companies, and then scale the solution to other sectors and then to Eastern Europe. And for this goal, we looking for a strategic partner who wants to build a SOC solution for internal needs. And after this, to spin off the offering to for the market and share the profit together. Or smart money. And finally, I want to add only one thing. Our interlocking cybersecurity team is standing by. Дякую за увагу.
Thank you for your attention. Let us thank Artem for his presentation and let us we're starting a small block of the companies that work in fintech. We have already spoken of Security Operations Center, but I'm sure that our audience has the questions about this project as well. So please, the floor is yours for the questions. Yes, please. financial sector, a lot of things complicated with money. So, okay, I will start with a question then. Artem, so how would be your ideal partner? The partner that would implement your solution for their internal use? You know, the ideal partner for us would be our ideal client, our big company, big corporation that needs to build the overall security system for their internal needs. Good, thank you. Do we have any more questions, please, dear audience? Okay, we don't have questions. Thank you, ITX company. And okay, speaking on banks and money and financial sector, I would like to introduce our unique speaker, the interbanking company for the banking association that is going to be presenting their service for the foreign payments tracking. So Olesa, please welcome.
Let me introduce myself and our project Fraudulent Payments Tracker. My name is Olesa Danilchenko. I'm Deputy Director of Ukrainian Interbank Payment Systems Member Association, YEMA, and member of Advisory Group on Financial Services of European Cybercrime Center, Europol. YEMA is working in area of anti-fraud with banks in Ukraine and CIS region during 20 years. When we shared the idea of the project with Monobank, they told us that it will be the bomb for the market. Later, we approved this idea with 95% of the Ukrainian banks, and 3 months ago, we have started an MVP project with a bank. So what is the problem we are facing with? It's a significant growth of card-not-present fraud with social engineering component. Victims complete fraudulent payments by themselves, and these payments can't be stopped by existing anti-fraud solutions. Tricked victims claiming banks, asking them to stop the payment and to return the money. They are contacting law enforcement for investigation. And since they do not find any feedback, they are looking for justice on the Facebook. Such situation had happened to mom of angel investor Viktor Konovalov. She has lost her savings for 40 years. So what is the solution? It's an interregional platform that connects bank, payment service providers, and law enforcement agencies, and helps banks to track and to stop fraudulent payments, and police to investigate such cases. For convenience of customers, it has both API and web interfaces. As far as its infrastructure project, it doesn't have any direct competitors. And indirect competitors are working in the area of fraud prevention. But since fraudulent payment has happened, they can do nothing. During 3 months of MVP project with only one bank, more than fraudulent transactions on the total amount more than 2 million hryvnias were tracked via the service by 20 banks from Ukraine and Kazakhstan. The banks in these countries have the similar patterns of card-not-present fraud. That is why they are also potential customers of the service. With 30% of them, YEMA is working already. They are our members. And our experience demonstrates us that each $500 invested in customer acquisition brings us 9 times more. So during Cyberaccelerator, we have understood, we came here with social projects, and here we have understood that it has also big business potential. So now we are on the stage when we are thinking to spin off this project into a separate, profitable business entity. And to complete this task, we are looking for funding, $30K to finalize development of the product, and 20 keys to start marketing in sales in these countries. What we bring into the project? It's $500,000 already invested in infrastructure building, brand development, and market trust during 20 years of our work. With this funding, we will have ability during 2 years to connect to the service banks in Ukraine and these countries, payment service providers, and law enforcement agencies. Our team that is mainly working on this project are 3 persons with total experience in anti-fraud and payments processing more than 60 years. And what about Viktor Konovalov, angel investor whose mom has lost her savings? Unfortunately, he is not yet a member of our team, and we are open for opportunities and looking for smart partners with smart fund. Thank you for your attention.
So my mom actually...
You're welcome with your questions.
Yes. My mom also calls me. It's like, hey, you know, somebody called me from this bank and that bank and asked for your PIN code for your card. So for our moms and for all of us to make payments more safe, we are open to questions, to a beautiful product of Emma, and I see question from Svat right over there.
Yeah, hey, I'm from ISSP. Just quick question, as your idea came from the meeting with Monobank about the IP rights on the idea. Is there any chance they can claim something on the idea, or that's purely your own? Thank you.
Actually, I didn't see you.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, yes, I understand, but I didn't understand the question as far as I...
Суть питання в тому, що ви...
The idea of the question is that basically you've come up with this idea with the Monobank. So can they claim that this idea is there? So whether they will be available for the IP rights for this project. You think Monobank? You say Monobank? No. Well, basically, no. It's just that we have talked about this idea with them. We have multiple projects that we have been working through the different IPIs, but you know what? But they never wanted to support that. But on this idea, they've said that yes, that this will be the project that will fly high, and that's very good for the market. I can't say they have no rights. They have no rights for any kind of intellectual property for this project. Yes, thank you. Thank you. More questions, please. More questions on the prevention of the fraud in financial sector. 86% of all the financial crimes and data-related crimes.
Okay.
So we had a question about the ideal portrait of our ideal investor, but how do you see your next pilot? Because we're now with a pilot with a bank. Maybe what are the next steps that would be very good for the development of your markets and your business? Well, the next step would be not just the MVP, but would be actually the industrial use. Where right now we're talking with Monobank and we're going to launch it with them. But basically, the main issue here is about the financial support, because this project, we have launched this project with additional financial support. We have never thought that that would be kind of a business model for us, because we've made a social project and we have this experience of working on grants or financial support. So the first we wanted to help the grants provided to us, but then we have understood that that might also be some kind of financial benefit of that. We have seen the business potential. We're ready to negotiate with those people who would like to earn some money on that. You can see that we have some results. We are not investing a lot in engagement, but we kind of earn a lot. Yes, we're happy that the accelerator can help you reshape your strategy and to find additional commercial potential to the solutions that are not only socially responsible, but who also can be a good business. Thank you, Olesa, and we announce a technical break. We'll be back in 5 minutes and we'll listen to the second part of our presentation. Ukrainian are very good and effective. In order for us to be even more efficient for today, I would like to ask all of the people who are offline here with us to join us here in the room, and those teams who are going to be presenting in the second part of our events to get ready to your presentation. We will start in a minute. Like to invite to join us here on the stage one of the companies that not only opens the new markets but only reopens for us the new markets we have never thought about, and we never know it would be possible for them to exist, and it shows us how we can build up the cybersecurity services in this sector and to provide the good services there. So please welcome IntelliGroup. Yes, thank you, Helena. So dear colleagues, I'm pleased to welcome you. My name is Helena as well, and I am the head of the IntelliGroup company. And during the accelerator, we have been presenting our service, the informational and cybersecurity for SMEs. I do believe that each and every one of you have met some certain types of the cyber incidents in your life, and that might be the phishing letters from the banks, or that might be the losses of information that you've experienced, or the no way how you can restore the information that was critically important for you from your backups, or the stop of the infrastructural work due to the breach of the IT infrastructure of the company. Right now, the companies, the SMEs, are the less protected companies from the cyber attacks. Based on the Cisco report, 50% of all of the cyber attacks are being done to SMEs. 78% of the companies of SMEs, they have no form to respond to those kind of threats. The integrators are not really interested in these directions by the SMEs companies. They have limited human and financial resources, and they require the fast response, and they have some peculiarities of their work as well. Another problem that has been seen by the market is that most of the companies, they only offer the opportunities for cyber protection. But still, we know that the people are the most vulnerable link in the cybersecurity. So we have to provide not only the cybersecurity but informational security as well. That is what we build our value offer on. We offer the informational and cybersecurity for the SMEs. These services include auditing. Based on the results of the auditing, will be provided the organizational, technical, and software resolutions and the long-term support and maintenance for those services. You can see the main components of the services that we offer. Speaking about our competitive advantages for our services, first of all, we will provide the overall holistic approach, because basically we will provide the full sector of services with a fixed price. The automated approach provided technologies and an availability for small and medium businesses. The model of our income would include the following direction. First of all, the cost of the services, also the income for selling the equipment and the services, a monthly payment for the services provided, and upscale for the upsell for additional technologies and products. We're working in the B2B market. The first clients are the financial companies, that's why we see, and the companies of the middle size. The clients of the second line will be the small companies that are currently growing. Their clients or that have faced the cybersecurity issues before. What we have got to accelerator with, we had the need in the consultational and marketing approach and support. Due to that, we have built up the strategy for the overall development of our company and how we position on the market. Right now, we're looking for the commercial partnership in order to broaden the service scope, and we're looking for additional financial support. Our company works in Ukrainian market market since 2017, and we're providing the services on building up and full maintenance of IT infrastructure, and also introducing them modern IT technologies. To develop the services, we have a dedicated team in our company. We are sure that our experience and expertise in this sector will give us the opportunity to provide the high-quality, accessible services for the SMEs. Thank you for your attention. I will gladly take your questions right now in more details in a private conversation. So yes, this is the unique moment. Both we have two Galinas speaking on one stage, both speaking on cybersecurity. But right now you can ask the questions if you have any. Any questions, please, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, then I will use... We have the question. Victor has a question. I think that you will need the mic to voice it up. Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the pricing will be made? So it will be like kind of a package solution, or that will be just the outsourcing of the services that you will provide? Because we have seen some of the numbers or the needed investment, but without the pricing policy, it's not quite clear to understand how you're going to build your businesses. Yes, thank you very much for this question. The pricing is based on a couple of factors. The first factor would be the size of the company and the overall complexity of the infrastructure in the company. That is why we need the auditing, first of all. And after the auditing, we will be creating the projects of the protected infrastructure, and then we are already building the price on that. So, but basically what we want to do, we want to have the package offer so that companies with certain size of a certain IT infrastructure might have the fixed price as well. We know that sometimes this price might seem too low for some of the companies, but we still believe that we are getting into the company, we're having the auditing made, and then we'll continue to communicate with our companies. Okay, thank you. Do we have more questions? Can you please tell us, basically, when you're saying the auditing and when you are saying about this design of your target solution, so you're considering only the technical aspects of informational security? No, we're not only considering the technical aspects of informational security, we are considering both technological and informational aspects. We are analyzing the information flow. We are building certain amount of resolutions that have to be what kind of information should be protected, in what way, how to stop this information from violations and breaches, and what kind of the technical solutions would help us to do that, plus the physical security, the security for networks, servers, the final users, defense and security as well. So this is the combination of both technological and informational security. Yes, thank you, Helena. And speaking on the way the person is an important link. So let's thank Helena, and we'll invite the next team for as well. Thank you. So the next team, Security Steps team, they have got to us with a very interesting background, and they have been a very big revelations in the framework of our program, because basically most of the programs have been either oriented to the cybersecurity market before, or they have created the product that they have already planned in the cybersecurity. Security Steps, they created a resolution and then decided to present it, but Ola will tell us more about that. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to welcome everyone. My name is Oleg Maslov, and I represent the company that is called Security Steps. We are the platform for the training on informational security basics. After the hybrid war, and as a result of the hybrid war, we have seen the multiple cyber attacks for the Ukrainian infrastructure and critical infrastructure institutions. We've understood that we need to do something about that. The first step for us to take was to create the Jura app that was very important for the military man at the front line, that has substituted the Russian developers' apps that were very vulnerable for the violations from our enemy. So we wanted to create a resource for them to be able to increase the level of awareness on informational security. We've had the feedback from businesses in the framework of our acceleration program, and we've decided that we would like to turn our educational project into commercial products. What are the serious problems? The serious problems are being treated by the experienced engineers and experts, but the most losses for the businesses are being done due to incompetence and the lack of awareness among the employees. It doesn't really matter what kind of position they take in the company. As we have already heard today, already during the previous speeches as well, that sometimes we forget even to lock our laptop, or we're using the primitive passwords like 1234 or QWERTY. They are the ones who are bringing those losses first of all. But basically the problem is that we do not have the really simplified solution to teach people about cybersecurity. That is why we have created a tool with the help of which we'll be able to increase the level of knowledge in cybersecurity. The one that is made of LMS, the learning management system that is used for the analyticals and monitoring of the results, and is made of video tutorials. That also includes the video lessons and that cover most of the aspects of the cybersecurity, of the basics of the cybersecurity and cyber hygiene. The personal costs and our time has been shown as the results of our project, the project that has been already used by more than 30,000 people in Ukrainian army. At this very moment, our targeting covers Ukrainian internal markets, the state-owned enterprises of the critical infrastructure, the small businesses and medium businesses in IT sector, and enterprises. Those are the 9 goals and those main targets that we would like to cover. Speaking on the timeline overall, at this very moment we are in the stage of the Cyberaccelerator, and by the end of the year we would like to finalize our commercial MVP and to analyze our main assumptions and validation of our assumptions. We would like to engage the first commercial clients, and by the end of 2022 we would like to provide their training to more than 100,000 users. We have chosen the B2B SaaS model that includes the licensing, the additional certification, and the sales of the premium content as well. Among the solutions that are already available, you can pay by clients. That would be relevant for SMEs, and an annual subscription that would be a better relevance for big enterprises and big companies. Among our direct competitors are the likewise services that provide the same educational and training basis, but the lack of the Ukrainian language content and the lack of the additional relevance to Ukrainian topic gives us the opportunity to have an advantage there. Among the indirect competitors are the companies that provide the services on technological training and technical training and cybersecurity. As far as those companies and those service companies, they are not our main competitors. We can consider them our potential partners, basically. As of today, our activity has mostly been concentrated, has also been on a volunteer basis, and we have only allocated our own money, our own time, and our own knowledge. We need and we require additional financial support. Based on the acceleration program, we really wanted to find the first clients, and we would like to have a broader presence and broader visibility among the other teams. This is our great team that is made of the representatives of IT and legal industries. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm happy to take your questions if you have any. Yes, we have been talking today a lot on how should we treat the critical infrastructure and how we are being oriented on the critical infrastructure. And here we have a great example when we have started with a critical infrastructure product and it wants to go commercials now. So I think that you might have some questions in this way. Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for your work that you have been done for our military man. It deserves the round of applause. Thank you. But basically, you know, I have slightly challenging questions, because basically I was also studying the market of the services in this direction of Ukraine, and I know at least 3 companies that have been providing these 3 services on a commercial basis in the Ukrainian already. But the question is as follows, basically. You know, I have 2 component questions to that, because the informational security is a very boring topic. It is very boring. Engaging business representatives who are doing some kind of work on a daily basis that is important for them, that is important for their leaders, to spend that time that they can spend in a more productive way is really hard. What is your plan? In what way you're going to make this topic interesting for them? This is the first part of the question, and I have the second question, please, as well, not to let the microphone go. So, can you please tell us? Okay, I'll ask the question later on. Okay. I think that all of the questions we'll be able to discuss in more details privately, but right now, what is your secret sauce, Oleg? Okay, thank you very much for this question, but basically, I do believe that everything's quite easy for us, and right for us, we are planning to make a very fun video tutorials that are not really boring, they're really interesting and nice, and it turns out that we believe that even for the people who are not that aware in basic cybersecurity, that will be a very interesting and enjoyable. Thank you very much. That's we have no more question, but then I will ask the question then. You have spoken about the IT companies. What would be the ideal profile for your clients? I'm asking this question to everyone because I do believe that is a good thing for your partners to be able to identify themselves. Yes, thank you very much for this question, Helena. Basically, because the big IT companies, they have significant resources for this IT, for this kind of system. So we know that they might provide this biggest solutions for the US or Europe, but we're mostly oriented for the companies with around 50 people up to 400 people overall. So there might be the companies who don't have a lot of money spent for this kind of a critically important sector as the development of IT infrastructure. So, okay, we might say that they are oriented on different segments of economy, which is very good because it gives us the clearer understanding that our program works and we are identifying resources in the right direction. I have seen the last question. We don't even have the last question. Okay, thank you, Oleg. So you will ask this question privately. Thank you. Thank you.
Right now, I'd like to invite another team. They're going to present how they revolutionize the way hybrid SOC is developed and what is a unique approach Team Cyberland invented. And here is Sergey, who's going to share all the details about it.
Yeah, hi all. Yet another security operations center today. Yeah. Okay. My name is Sergey, and I'm a CTO and co-founder of Cyberlands.io company. And today I want to present our idea. It's the Hybrid Security Operations Center. So let me explain what is the Security Operations Center actually. Actually, it's like Formula One team, yeah, where the technology and people combines to deliver very fast pit stop for the team. And if someone in this team works bad, yeah, team crash. So what is the problem in modern security operations centers? One of the biggest problem is too many tools, and there is no people who can use that tools effectively. And also one of the key aspect is the data management, because customers likes to store their sensitive data on their own premises. So what we propose? We propose for our customers 3 different services. Yeah, first one is dedicated team who goes on customer side and onboards and integrate in their processes. Second one, it's the team with unique expertise which works on our side and share their expertise with all our customers. And third one is data management, when we store the data on the customer premises and provide them only the rules to improve their detection rates. We are very flexible, and we're planning to deliver for our customers services which can build in their SOC processes. Of course, we have competitors, and our competitive advantage is the source of excellent Ukrainian engineers who can work for these customers, and also we provide for the customers better ROI for the tools which they buy for their processes. We have something like roadmap. We're planning to go to the global market maybe in 8 years. But for now, our main focus is the Middle East region. And on Middle East region, we have first pre-agreement with the big company who is ready to build our solution on their premises. And we now in the negotiation process. Why Middle East and why now? On the Middle East, still no leading provider for that solution. And also big companies which provide the same services, they don't go to this market. But this market grows and companies digitalize. We have request, for the partnership. We need not only cash, we need also smart money. We need investor who can provide to us reference client, on which premises we can build a security operations center proof of concept. About our team, our core team, it's 2 members, me and my co-founder Alex. Alex have more than 10 years experience in managing and building security operations centers for the oil and gas industry. And what about myself? I'm much more about technical experience. I have also experience in the malware analysis and in the big corporations. And also I'm a co-founder of 2 biggest communities for cybersecurity in Ukraine with more than 3,000 active members. So it's our main source of people for our project. Thank you for your attention. Welcome to us.
So take a look. We covered financial sector, Middle East, basically competed with Ukrainian talents, and security operations center on a hybrid model. It definitely should be a ground for questions. Yes.
Thanks for the presentation. Can you please elaborate a little bit more on, well, I will start from another angle. SOC is a complicated combination of processes, people, right, and tools. And you develop your tool, basically, right? And you equip SOC with people. That is why it's a hybrid SOC, because you provide software and people. Is it correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
So independently from how great your software is, you still need to have at least 3 to 5 probably specialists to run a SOC at one enterprise-grade customer, right?
Yeah.
So with connecting new customers, you need to scale up quickly, not only in terms of sales managers and marketing department, right? You need actually engineers who will work for the customer. So what is your plan on that? I mean, if you connect 10 more customers, it means you need 50 more people, right? How you're planning to hire them quickly? How you're planning to retain them, train them, etc. Thanks.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, first of all, we have a big community of talented engineers. Also, we have developed on our premises learning program, because we provide not only security operations centers services, we provide other security services, and we have developed a learning program for the engineers to onboard them and to prepare for our customers. So we're planning to develop people, to find excellent people, and maybe to add some added value for them by learning them in the target area.
So here we can see how a combination of great talent and great technology can be a great new solution for a market. And you have basically time for one more question. Yes, Victor.
Hi. So from what I understood, you are looking to raise $500,000 to be the center in UAE, right?
Yeah, UAE, Middle East.
Okay, so did you do any like market testing there? Like, do you have any like clients that you have talked to? What's their response? Like, what kind of market research in MENA region did you make?
Yeah, we have actually we started our idea from the attending JSEC conference, yeah, where we have more than 50 contacts in 3 days with different organizations, and they have request for the talented engineers because our target company is the company who have something, yeah, but not have engineers and not have people who can manage it, yeah, and almost 30 companies asked us about our experience in the Security Operations Center to help them to manage. And actually, our first pre-agreement for now is the company from the target region, yeah, because they have built something about security, they have basic monitoring, but for now they have incidents and they want to manage that incidents. And they have low quality engineers because most of engineers on this region, it's the Asian engineers with low quality of skills.
Yeah, okay, just maybe small advice. If you want to raise like 500,000 out of nowhere, because I just figure you don't have any fundraising history so far, you need to have at least like soft commitments from clients and you have to talk about them.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
And I do think that Cyberland's team going to work on this. Thank you so much for questions. And right now we are moving to a different segment. Thank you, Sergey. We have yet another company focused on financial sector, but in extremely interesting way. And in a first way, we have basically in a region. So I'm inviting another Sergey to present radar solution.
Thank you. Yeah, let's talk about identity breaches. Hi, everyone. My name is Sergey. Let me introduce identity theft monitoring platform, Radar ID. According to this figure number, it's not even a question that thieves knows most of us quite well. And the vast majority of breaches were financially motivated. Precisely as Gala mentioned, 86% of them. So that is why our early warning solution is so important. Our goal is to detect compromised personal data sooner, no matter when it occurs, and then help to make it obsolete for the thieves and reduce assets drain risks. We want our partners establish long-term relationship with their customers by offering identity protection, alongside to help better understand customers and unlock new profitable opportunities. Our key features is 24/7 identity objects monitoring and alerts. As an upside of collecting an extensive amount of data, reduce acquisition cost, and improve credit score of new and existing customers. We want to start market fit test as early as possible, and by August 2022, full commercial launch with API for partners. Our business model is based on subscription on demand with full digital experience and tools that helps better understand customers. Our key competitive advantage that we are first such company in CE region with tools, toolbox, easy to use toolbox and easy to understand the customers. As the first stage, we want to start working with the banks and fintechs in CE region, particularly in Ukraine and Poland. We are seeking for smart money to complete research and development with guidance on the market and interest to potential partners. Our current traction with other product, our key partners is telcos, banks, and insurance companies. Our core team member with product development expertise in customer orientation manner. Our big goal is to reduce losses of financial industry and gain control individual customers on their personal data on the internet. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sergey. And we have questions already, so go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I truly tried to understand what it is about, but could you please specify several words? What is the solution? It sounds like heavy bin pound or...
Yeah, the same, yeah. Some sort of, but with vast numbers of credentials to monitor.
Okay, and what is your, again, what is your business model? So subscription?
Yeah, first of all, B2B to reduce potential losses, and then next step, we will try to build B2B2C because we need to educate market. We want to educate market and increase revenues for our partners. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions about why your email is out there on the internet and how Radar planning to make tons of money on this kind of solution? Now, then I can ask. So, Sergey, you mentioned pretty significant fundraising goal, but I do understand that you're also looking for great partners. And why you decided to focus on CE region and why you have this request specifically here?
Because CE region, I mean, western part of the world is more or less ready for such a product, and particularly in Ukraine, we need to first of all educate the market. That's need a lot of funds to do. So
awesome. So we are right now observing how Radar team is changing the market dynamics, and right now I want to thank you, Sergey.
Thank you.
And invite our, I can't believe actually saying this, but people, the last team for today, right? And our last team for today is a team with definitely unique solution team we are super proud of. And it's Unlink VR team. And I'm super proud to invite Yevgen Kotuch to the stage to close our pitch for today. So all the crazy questions you prepared, please prepare them for Yevgen, and we are happy to start.
Hi, thank you. Some of you may know us, may know Unlink and our solution on free space optics communication for virtual reality headset. But today I will present you a post-quantum solution, which utilize our basic technology. So free space optics becomes very trendy. While Google just shown the way how to connect the two cities, Brazzaville and Kinshasa, with the free space optics. And the problem here and in any other connection and communication is still that commercialization of quantum computer, which actually Marijus mentioned in his speech, will break every single solution on public key crypto systems, which is used right now on the market. So, and not only 5G and 6G demands on communication, as well as trend for free space optics market will also affect such things, and the problem will be actualized. My name is Yevgen Kotuch. I'm associate professor at Sumy State University, which is top-ranked university in Ukraine now. And I have a lot of papers and conference papers regarding post-quantum cryptography, which is actually my major. So our solution is to have hybrid solution for free space optics communication quantum key distribution and post-quantum cryptography application as a service integrated to the system. It will allow us to distribute the quantum keys in a very secure, physically proven way and provide absolutely new service for the communication within any business here to secure communication. So this is the quite simple demonstration on how our free space optics technology works for virtual helmets. So we started to develop this solution in 2020, and now we have made a lot of progress here. We have a grant on CRDF for our academic research, and also we applied for Y Combinator. Market size is quite big. We can talk about 2 billion market, but we believe that such a deep technology may influence a lot of different markets, and such things will grow. So our target for sure is 5G, 6G communications, and CBDC, which is now the also trendy things in financial market. Everyone talk about digital money, and of course, government will require such application security as a service. We have some direct and a lot of indirect customers. Direct competitors, it's a team from Cambridge with their new quantum solution. They raised $7 million to develop MVP, and they're just somewhere in the middle. And of course, Chinese government laboratory, which already invent and introduce free space optics communication to satellites. I have a brilliant team. Together with my co-founder, we have a great scientific backgrounds for more than 20 years, 100 more papers published, and together with our team of brilliant engineers who work on optical, electrical, software domains, we can make it happen. So now we are looking for $400 to equip our lab, to hire some engineers, and extensively work on MVP. So while Air Force and Space Headquarters in Colorado think about how to utilize our technology, let's convert our science to your money. Thank you.
And speaking of conversion of science to money, you definitely have a question how to do this. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation. Short question. As I understand, currently there is no significant need in post-quantum technologies for encryption of traffic for providers, right? It should be needed very soon, but when we don't know, right? So what is current application of the technology? What is the monetization level right now? I mean, who would pay for this right now if it's not an R&D topic, if it's a real business case?
Good question, thank you very much. Recently, NIST introduced white paper when they discussed how actually apply for post-quantum cryptography in the markets. So I don't think that it's in a very early stage, so we are just at the end point when we have to start to think how to implement and commercialize such technology. And it's already, as I mentioned, Google Tara made free space optics communication, and they are like step ahead to introduce such solution to their customers.
Awesome. And we have another question. Alexandra.
Hey, thank you for the presentation. May I ask about a bit more details on competition? So right now you mentioned Cambridge and Chinese government, which is they obviously have way more money than you can fundraise. May I ask about more down-to-earth competition and your value proposition a bit more clearly? So how would you compete if you would not fundraise ever like your mentioned competitors?
Thank you very much. For sure, without money, our way will be just a bit longer than with some fundraising. But for sure, for example, Cambridge team, they also start with nothing, but now they raised $7 million for this project. And they quite far from commercial model. However, if we approach 5G big operators with such solution, I believe they will be interesting to implement it within maybe 5 years. But the way has to be started right now.
Thank you so much. And that was the last question of today. And I'm extremely proud of our cohort and the successes they made. Thank you, Yevgen.
Thank you very much.
You know what? I asked so many questions, and it's my turn to give some answers. So My name is Helena Vasilevska, if you haven't met me, and I'm a Cyberaccelerator lead and a person who was basically in charge of all of it for past 3 months with the brilliant team who made all of it possible. And I firstly want to thank all of the people who made today's event, our team's performance, and all of the successes possible. So a round of applause, please. And speaking of next steps, you've seen amazing performance of deep tech companies, companies in fintech, B2B2C companies, service companies doing IoT and industrial security. So what's going to happen next? So the next step for our current cohort is fundraising. Some of them, as you may see, requested venture capital funding, and some of them invested grants or credit money because they're self-sufficient, operationally profitable business. So as a Cyberaccelerator, we're going to assist to all of them with their efforts through our network of partners, collaboration with international funds, local funds, and also working on their strategies to make sure that they do have enough resources. Another important request, as majority of you may have seen, is a channel partnership. Because for cybersecurity, it's extremely important to build trust. And you can build trust only based on proper relations. So channel partnership is a second important priority for us. Third one is implementation of marketing strategy. As you probably know, companies in Eastern Europe, and in Ukraine in particular, so good in building solution, and not that good in marketing and business development. So we as an accelerator help them a lot with this. And we do believe that companies can proceed with implementation of this mentioned marketing strategy. We also want to help our current cohort with scaling of products and services. We also have something very specific to offer. First one is enterprise and B2B matchmaking programs in collaboration with major international enterprise clients, including Fortune 500 companies. So right now we have pre-agreements with 2 major players on the market for B2B matchmaking and enterprise scouting programs, where our participants are going to be exclusive members of this matchmaking efforts, which will give them much shorter access to enterprise companies, other than it would take them forever to basically get this intro they may need. Second, and really, really important priority of ours is joint project with critical infrastructure. We've seen some companies working with banks already. We've seen some companies working in energy sector. We also have some interest from healthcare sector to work with our companies as well. We're going to assist on this collaboration through our channels and basically working together with them. Another yet great component Tim mentioned earlier today, which starts actually in a couple of weeks, called Mentor Protege program. So Mentor Protege program is a program which basically matches Ukrainian company with US partner, and they develop joint offering for US market and basically train each other. It's a unique program for the market, first of a kind, and spoiler alert, we have a couple of companies from our current batch conferred from this program already, and we're going to work on their efforts moving forward. We're definitely going to assist with investments through our internal resources and external resources moving forward. And where you can see us, you're definitely going to see us on Lviv IT Arena. We're going to be among keynotes and panelist speakers. And we're also going to host closed reception as a part of Lviv IT Arena offline agenda. So no live stream, unfortunately, but for Lviv IT Arena participants, definitely save the date and watch out for our channels where we're going to communicate some details about Lviv IT Arena presentation. In November, we are planning to select the second cohort, and if you want to have access to all the brilliant resources and get the performance of the companies we've shown you today, second cohort is definitely the place to go. And for next year, we're going to focus on support of our companies. And all the details about second cohort and how to become a part of Cyberaccelerator is via this link. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's been a long, extremely interesting and super fulfilling journey. I can't be more proud and happier to be in this kind of surrounding. Ми дякуємо дуже нашим глядачам, які дивилися.
We're really grateful to all of our audience who have followed us on YouTube. We're really tremendously grateful to everyone who supported our program and provided us with feedback. We are sure that this is definitely a good start for Ukraine to become a big cybersecurity hub. Thank you for your attention, and thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. We would like to invite all of the participants from our people who presented their idea, projects, today. Let us take a look at them once again on the stage. We wanted to once again congratulate them with their presentation. That would be one again reminding that they keep on moving forward to the goals that they have outlined for themselves. Let us support them with a round of applause. That have been very powerful presentations. We believe that our second cohort is going to be even better, more interesting and better, because we keep on moving further on. We'll keep on moving forward, but I'm sure that it all depends on us, because it's up to us to already apply for the second cohort. We're going to be now providing you with our diplomas, and I'm sure that it will take some time as well, but let us have a round of applause to all of the people. This is the moment for us to acknowledge all of our participants. But maybe you have some questions. We'll have some time to a little bit of informal communication, but continuing our event and informal communication that will take place as well, because this is the moment when we are finalizing and closing our main part. And I would like to take a look at our participants. I just wanted to hope that you'll recall your questions, and now you'll be able to ask them privately. And we will continue in our unofficial part of our meetings, and we will get the best of results from our meetings today. Thank you very much, dear participants. We've made some photos that are needed for us. Thank you very much again, and we would like to invite you for the reception and for informal communication overall. That is all for today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. There is an idea to make another photo, so I think I would like to invite the team, the accelerator that has been organizing all of this event, that spent a lot of efforts. The day has happened, the project has happened, so please welcome the Cyber Accelerator team as well.